Hey everybody, hope you're having a great day today. It's been a little bit since I've last gone live, so give me just a second here as I set up the other channel. Yeah, so today was hoping to talk to you a little bit about is setting some achievable goals and then mastering finances for small businesses. So I've been traveling quite a bit. Just got back from Germany. I went to a NATO AirCom headquarters event, so the air component for NATO. Trying to remember all the places I was at. I know I went to DC at one point. I was in Raleigh, North Carolina. Went out to Camp Roberts up in California, I guess it was, and then I had a couple of weeks of some finance training. So just kind of wanted to give you guys a little bit of insight into the things that we're thinking about here at Ombra, and hopefully help you out a little bit. So probably the first and foremost, pretty exhausted. I worked over 160 hours in a 2-week period a couple of weeks ago. So came back from Germany, got to drive a manual car for the first time in I guess it's probably 20 years. So took an overnight flight in, and I got out to the parking garage trying to read German, which I don't, and also just trying to find this car. And so it was a little tiny car and had all this backdrop and all this good stuff in there. And then ended up driving this little manual car, and it was so funny. I couldn't even figure out how to put it in reverse and trying to shift. Funniest part of that story probably is that I drove like an hour and the parking brake on. So hopefully don't tell Alamo that I might have messed up their braking system a little bit. But anyway, finally got there, got to the event in Germany, and got to meet a bunch of NATO folks, understand the problems that they're having, a little trade show thing, and then flew back and ended up missing our flights in Germany to Amsterdam. So coming back to Detroit and then back on the road. That was a Thursday. And then back on the road on Sunday. So, first thing that I wanted to talk about was kind of focus, achieving goals. So we've been super broad here at Ombra in terms of the technologies we work on. We have a new project we're about ready to kick off, which is biofuel in space. So we haven't really advertised that at all yet. But again, we're doing biofuel in space. We're doing biometrics. We're doing drone stuff. We're doing data encryption, and so really broad, and that's really Ombra is just umbrella, so super broad. But even top of the funnel, the sales funnel, we're super broad and like going out to NATO and all over the place. And so the first thing I was kind of thinking about was, trying to maybe not be as broad as we've been, and that's probably one of the mistakes we've made recently. Just getting a little bit too broad in terms of chasing a little bit too much. And I was listening to a talk the other day, and they really talked about really the 3 phases of customer acquisition. So first thing is you want to acquire people, super top of funnel, sales funnel that is. And then you want to ascend them. So you do good work after you've acquired them. And then you maybe do some more projects with them. And then finally, if you're doing really good work and you like them and they like you, then you like to retain them. So that the acquire phase, it just takes a lot of effort. It takes a tremendous amount of effort to get a new customer because they don't know you, you don't know them, you don't understand their community maybe. And so, as I've mentioned before, I come from the special operations community, so I understand special operations. So it's a lot easier for me to talk special operations than it is NATO. And so really what we're doing right now is just trying to dial it back in just a little bit and focus on the things that we're good at. And those are, a lot of the SBIR process, the Small Business Innovator Research, the tech transfer with universities. So we're doing a lot of that right now. We submitted 2 phase 2 proposals yesterday. Both were with universities. We submitted one phase 2 a couple weeks ago. And then we got 3 phase 2 proposals that are going in next week. And so phase 2s are a little over $1 million. And then the phase 1s are about 150, $200,000, something like that. So we're kind of getting back to our roots a little bit there. We've had some great conversations this week with folks at SOCOM, folks at Central Command. And so again, kind of staying local here in Tampa, a little bit easier than flying all the way to Germany and trying to learn how to drive a manual car again after 20 years. So really been our focus here right now is just kind of grind through the next month or so and really to double down on some of those existing relationships. And so kind of, summary, the thing I'm probably trying to explain is, sometimes there's this excitement of going after a new client, but it just takes so many repositions, so many times you have to talk to this person before you'll actually close that deal, and get this new client. And so oftentimes it's just easier to kind of stick with what you know, although we're still keeping the funnel open a little bit. The second thing I want to talk to you about today was really financials, so small business finances. So, we've been guilty of this. We've been in business almost 7 years. I think so. Be probably this weekend we'll be at the 7-year mark, and so we focus on our profit and loss statement a lot. We talk about, hey, what's going on with cash flow? We got to hit payroll. There's all these things that I'm constantly thinking about. The part that I don't spend enough time thinking about is kind of your statement of cash flow, your balance sheet, and how all those things kind of tie together. So just went to this event a couple weeks ago, and really the focus of that was just small business finance. How do you pay attention to all those things? If you're in an accrual accounting system, when you need to go to accrual from a IRS perspective, what are the differences? How are you tracking, all these things and not paying more taxes than you need to pay tax on? So that was super helpful. Hit me up if you want to talk about any of those things. Love to talk a little bit more about those, but try to kind of stay at the surface level right now. The second part was just kind of closing your books every month. And we thought we were closing our books every month by kind of reconciling our statements and things like that, but really kind of going to the next level and trying to understand exactly where your expenses are coming in, where your revenue's coming in, and making decisions based on that. And so we're at this point, our new focus is doing a thorough job of closing our books every single month, projecting kind of what are the upcoming expenses, what are the labor needs, kind of what are the KPIs that we're going to be working, on internally. And then eventually, once we kind of understand that, what are the positions that we need? What are we're building new org charts here. We currently have 33 people on the books. We're building a 100-person org chart, so we understand, what that looks like in terms of our growth. What are the positions? Where there's opportunity for our people on our team, and so those are pretty exciting. I had a great conversation with our HR lady today about building those org charts out, and then what are the next steps? What are the position descriptions? What are the KPIs for these positions? And then ultimately, what we want to do is kind of do a little bit better job of budget forecasting. And so, laughable enough, this is our first time we've had a real budget at Ombra. So that's it's interesting. We kind of been playing it. Been running it kind of a little bit loose. So we've got a full-fledged budget this year. And so that's great. And we're allocating our expenses based on kind of what we want to do. So say we want to go to a trade show, say we want to have some investment in an IRAD project. So we're doing all that. And then the next phase where we're going to get into is as we kind of start managing that a little bit, as new things come in and projects overrun, underrun, whatever they're doing, is really setting some money aside for our employees. And so I think this year we'll probably start an incentive compensation plan. We already do profit sharing here, but we'd like to really find a way to give back more to our employees, and really have that aligned to the growth of the organization. So align their career growth with what we're trying to do as an organization, which is ultimately just deliver operational capability to the battlefield. So as we build in this budget, we're going to allocate some money for employee compensation and figure out how we can incentivize folks to really help us grow together, and also just show a real career progression for those guys. So those are really the two things. Again, first is really focusing on the people that we already have in the ecosystem, trying to maybe ascend those to another deal, another project we're trying to work on. Retain the ones we're working on. So do a great job on the contracts that we have. And we're fortunate enough to work with some really great clients. But then just try not to get too far outside of kind of what we've been doing. So next week I'll be traveling. We got a client meeting out in California. So I got to do that. And then back to DC. There's an industry conference. We're industry day. And so I'll go do that. But again, that's kind of back to the people we've been working with for a number of years. And then kind of back here. The other big thing that I'll maybe talk about the next time is we're looking to become a hub zone company. So lots of lessons learned on that. There's some real value there in terms of competition. but there's also some challenges, and you kind of just gotta go through the entire process. So we're looking at new facilities. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to go check out a place, kind of move us on into a hub zone, give us a little bit more space, maybe, and then help give us some advantages there. So I'll be back next Thursday or so, about 7 days on the road, and then again, just kind of looking to look at new facilities. So with that, that's the two things I wanted to chat with you today about. Again, about kind of ascending your clients and keeping them inside that funnel, and then also, again, the business processes of bookkeeping and taxes and employee compensation. So any questions, please feel free to hit me up directly or through the link or something like that. I hope that was useful to you today, and I'm going to make a conscious effort to do this a little bit more often. So hope you have a wonderful day.